Hello friends, welcome back to another touch-up video. This one is going to be mostly unfulfilling because the vast majority of races in New York City were not called on Tuesday night, and the next round of vote counting will not happen until next week. I do have one race with results. As expected, Jermaine Williams easily won the primary for public advocate with 70% of the vote. He faces Republican and conservative opponents in November, but again, is highly favored to keep his seat. Currently, in the mayoral race, Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams is in the lead with a little over 30% of the vote. Civil rights attorney and progressive favorite Maya Wiley is in second place, and former Sanitation Department Commissioner Catherine Garcia is in third. Andrew Yang has conceded in the race after placing fourth in the initial round of counting. However, his votes remain as his votes until they get through every other candidate with a lower vote total than him, which I think is dumb. Isaac Wright Jr. came in last place, so the next round of counting will redistribute his votes to the voters' second choice candidates. Whoever ultimately wins will face Curtis Sliwa, founder of the citizen militia group Guardian Angels. No candidates for Borough President have reached 50%, so all races will need to go into a next round of counting. But for now, the leaders are Vanessa Gibson in the Bronx, Antonio Reynoso in Brooklyn, Mark Levine in Manhattan, and incumbent Donovan Richards in Queens, leading by only 1.3%. In Staten Island, Democrat Mark Murphy has a 25% lead, the biggest lead by a lot of any of these races, and Republican Vito Fossella has a 1.2% lead, the smallest.
Hi, Editing Esther here. In looking for a picture of Vito Fossella for this video, I've discovered he's a former congressman who left Congress because it came out that he had an affair that resulted in a baby. So this is his comeback, and this is wild, and this is why I wish I had more time to look into some of these things, because wowza. But honestly, better this guy than a Nazi, probs, unless he's also a Nazi. Staten Island, who knows.
In the Comptroller's race, Councilman Brad Lander is currently leading with 31% of the vote. In second place is Council Speaker Corey Johnson with 22%, and it'll be interesting to see if and how the gap closes through several rounds of counting. I actually think I'll post several touch-ups about these races to look at the vote totals as they change with each round, mostly because I know my mom wants to see it, and I'm about to move out of my parents' house, so this way she gets the updates. Because I can't, call her personally with updates. I have to create content and publicly publish it on the internet. Finally, in the Manhattan DA's race, former Chief Deputy Attorney General Alvin Bragg is currently leading former General Counsel for the Brooklyn DA, Tali Farhadian Weinstein, by 7,265 votes. This race did not use ranked choice voting, but there are still thousands of mail-in ballots to be counted, so the race has not officially been called yet. Not gonna lie, didn't see this one coming, especially since Weinstein's campaign had launched a smear campaign against Bragg and Assemblyman Dan Court for legislation they supported that would not help victims of sexual and domestic abuse. But perhaps the citizens of Manhattan Borough are fond of his former boss, former U.S. Attorney Preet Bharara, who had been kicked out by Trump. I try to claim that I understand voters, but truly, it's impossible sometimes. Join me early next week as I talk about my favorite campaign movie of all time. What do you think it is? Leave your guess in the comments. Like, subscribe, share, and check out my Patreon in the description box. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you next week.